Hi, I'm Allie with the Potomac Bead Company, and I'm going to show you how to do the Byzantine bracelet, adding either a link, a rubber ring, a washer, or a Czech glass donut. You could also use split rings, you could use a bead in the middle, so it can kind of be your choice. It extends the Byzantine, which requires you to use less rings, and also is easier once you get the hang of it. So what I'm doing here is I'm at the end of my Byzantine where I'm ready to do my foldbacks. So I have my 3 sets of 2 on. I'm going to grab my last 2 rings and I'm going to fold those back, one to one side and one to the other. And then the 2 rings that pop up, which are actually my center rings, I'm going to fold one to the top and one to the bottom. That's going to create that opening in the middle. If you don't know Byzantine, this is much easier to comprehend if you do. We have some videos on that as well. And what you're going to do is slide your ring in there like you're getting ready to start your next Byzantine set. And at this point, you want to add your Czech glass ring or your rubber ring. I'm working with rubber rings here. And I'm going to close that ring up then. Because the rings, when you're working with a closed ring, don't have an opening, you need to add them at this point. Here's where it becomes a little tricky because that one wasn't too bad. We have our ring there. We need to add our next jump ring in place there, and then we also need to connect it onto our ring because there's always 2 rings in the place of the Byzantine. You could use 1 here, but I do like to keep it consistent and use 2 throughout my projects. So I'm going to take my ring here, and I'm not going to worry too much about my rubber ring. And what I'm going to do is make my ring connect inside and continue on with my Byzantine. Again, kind of ignoring that rubber ring. When I bring my ring out on the other side here, and I'm working with my jump ring, when I push it through and bring it out, what I'm going to do at this point now is grab that rubber ring and kind of push it into place. The rubber rings are easier to use than the Czech rings, but both look great and both are fun. The nice thing with the rubber rings is I don't actually need a clasp now. What I can do is stretch it on because they do have some pull to them. So when you're looking at them, they will stretch. And then I can stretch this and roll this off and on my arm. If I'm working with a link and I want to add a bead to the middle of it, what you can do is actually just finish off your Byzantine set, and then I can just attach it to it if you're having a regular eye pin. I would suggest if you're doing a Byzantine bracelet though, rather than the regular eye pin, work with a coiled eye pin and attach it in the same fashion that I did the rubber ring. So whether or not you use the Czech glass or you use a coiled eye pin, rubber rings, or any sort of bead, large hole bead or anything to connect to. It lengthens the Byzantine a little bit, gives it a different look, and makes it a little bit more visually appealing.